Did you think that growing your Instagram would mean that you would finally be able to go full-time as a photographer? Well, I know that I did, and I spent the first 4 years of my career basically dedicating my life to growing my Instagram account to 100,000 followers. And to be honest, I got the opportunity to work with a lot of really cool brands and opportunities. But here's the crazy part. I work with creators every single day who have less than 5,000 followers and are getting insane gigs like this one. Which means that even though I grew my account to over 100,000, I actually spent years posting just irrelevant stuff that didn't move the needle, and more importantly, I left a ton of money on the table. So today I want to cut through the noise and show you exactly how you as a photographer can make money on Instagram, even if you have a small following. And no, I'm not going to talk about the typical stuff like selling presets or prints or stock footage. So I'm really going to break this video down into 2 sections. So the first part, we're going to talk about the 3 types of content that you need to be creating as a photographer that you're likely not creating right now. And in the second part, I'm going to talk about how to turn your Instagram into a client getting machine. But first, if you don't know who I am, my name's Nash. I'm a brand and resort photographer. I've worked with some of the top brands in the world like Sandals, Hyatt, Four Seasons, and many more. And I make videos like this because I want to help people like you actually break through and make a full-time living with their photography. And I also have a one-to-one mentorship program where I teach creators like you how to grow and scale their business to $20,000 a month minimum, shooting for brands and resorts. So if you're interested and you want to apply to the program, you can click the first link in the description below. All right, so let's dive into part 1. So back in 2018, when I first started on Instagram, this is when the OG kind of photography influencers were starting to post their photos, like Sam Colder, Peter McKinnon, all those guys. Now, the vast majority of the population was treating Instagram like a social network, just posting selfies and stuff, while those guys were posting their professional photography. Now, most photographers at that stage kind of treated Instagram as like a live portfolio that they would just update constantly. And because not many people were posting their professional photography at the time, it was actually fairly easy to get the attention of clients and for clients to actually hire you just off of posting your photography. But if we fast forward to today, there's obviously way more competition. Cameras are a lot cheaper, a lot more people have them, and there's a lot of talent out there posting really amazing photography. But now, as I'm sure you've noticed, there's a ton of competition in the industry and everybody is posting similar stuff, so it's very difficult to stand out. But if you use the tips I'm about to show you in this video, not only will you stand out, but you can actually turn your Instagram into a client getting machine. But in order to do so, you have to do something different that most photographers are not currently doing with your content strategy. Now, just one other thing before I drop the sauce on what types of content to create. Yes, you're a photographer, and although you take amazing photos, as you may know, Instagram is no longer a photo sharing platform. In fact, the CEO of Instagram literally said himself that it's no longer a photo sharing platform. So if you're sharing photos, they're not getting reach, you're not getting clients, and in a lot of ways, it's just kind of wasting your time. But there are ways that you can still share your photography while still playing Instagram's game, so that's what we'll get into. So I like to think of my Instagram content sort of like a funnel. So I asked myself, what would the brand that would hire me want to see in order to actually want to hire me? So there's really 3 core types of content that they would like to see. So the first one that comes to mind is that they would want to see that I'm competent shooting the types of work they need and for the types of clients that they are, right? They want to see relevant work. But remember, like I said, photos don't get a whole lot of reach. So if you're just posting your photography, chances are you're not going to be getting in front of a lot of clients. You're probably not going to get many inbound requests, and just in general, it's kind of wasting your time. So what do we do instead? Well, I'll drop a few examples on this video here that you can kind of see, but essentially you want to create videos, reels, and carousels around your work. But the basic concept is that you want to create a hook that's very catchy, very engaging, very curiosity driven, so that somebody wants to watch the entire video to see the end result or the content that was shot at the end of the video. And that's where you can kind of reveal your portfolio. Now, some other places you might want to think about putting some portfolio content is in your story highlights. You could even make a new story highlight for each client that you work with. You probably want to put a carousel in one of your pinned posts at the top. And I would also make every single one of your reels have one of your portfolio photos. So as soon as the client gets on your page, they can immediately see what your content looks like. So now that the client knows that you work with their type of clientele and they know that your work is solid, what's the next question they're going to be asking themselves? Well, likely it is, do they trust you and do they actually want to work with you? Because the thing is that people hire people, and I don't know about you, but I would much rather hire somebody who's competent at the work aspect of it, but is also just a fun person, easy to vibe with. I'd much rather hire that person versus somebody who just kind of shows up and collects a paycheck. And one of the best ways to do that is to create content that shows off your personality as well as your story. Now, I'm not saying that you need to become like a stand-up comedian or make some kind of crazy lifestyle vlog or anything like that, but I am saying that you can create content that is niche specific. So this could be behind the scenes from your shoot. Maybe you do a shoot day vlog. Maybe it's like a before and after of a shoot and you can write some kind of witty caption, or even showing the setup of a shot versus the final shot. All of these things go a long way in people establishing trust and actually wanting to work with you as a person. Another quick way that you can build trust is actually educate and help clients up front. So you can give them tips on how to use the content, tips on strategy, tips on writing captions, tips on how to light stuff, all kinds of different things. Whatever you can do to help the client achieve the results so they actually like you and want to follow you is what you want to do. Which brings me to the last one, and honestly, it's the most neglected of them all, but it's also the most powerful of them all. And that is conversion-based content. So think things like testimonials, video reviews, any kind of quote from a client, or any kind of rating review. Now, obviously, these are not like super nice, portfolio-based content or anything like that. But whenever somebody is making a buying decision, they always want to see if other people have made this decision to invest and have had a good experience, right? So they want to see those reviews, because ultimately the client's not hiring you for content. They're actually hiring you for what that content will do for them once they hit post or once they hit publish. So you don't have to do a whole bunch of these, maybe just 1 or 2 a month, and maybe you post them on your story every once in a while, but I would definitely make your best testimonial one of your pinned posts. All right, so now that we know the types of content that we have to create in order to attract our ideal client, the next question is, well, how do we turn this attention into actual paying clients? In other words, we want to turn our Instagram into a client getting machine. Now there's 4 main ways that we can do this, so I'm going to organize them from hardest to easiest. So the first one is probably the one that you're most familiar with, and that is cold outbound messaging. So assuming that you know the types of clients you want to work with, you can actually go on the offense and find and pitch these clients. So there's a few different ways that you can do this. Either you can type in the type of business and the location, like for example, hotels in Waikiki. You could also type in the name of a previous client or a client you would like to work with. You can go to their page, you can tap on suggested accounts, and it'll give you a bunch of different suggested accounts that you can find as well. Or you could type in the type of business on Google, and then you could find their Instagram account. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can find the account, but the point is, once you do, you're just going to send them a quick message. It's not going to be salesy or pitchy or anything like that. Your only goal is to create a connection. So you want to get a response. And the best way to do that is to compliment them in one sentence and then ask them a simple question that makes it feel like you are a customer, so the person actually wants to engage with you. Now, we don't want to bait and switch. We want to make it, relevant to our offer, but that's essentially the best way to do it. All right, let's move up one rung on the easy mode ladder to the second way that we can get clients, which is engaging with prospects who have engaged with our content. So again, if we're following that content strategy that I mentioned before, likely it's going to get in front of a lot of our ideal clients, and they'll either like it or comment or follow or whatever. Now, most people would look at this and they're like, well, that's just vanity metrics. Who really cares? But you can actually turn those vanity metrics into real leads, and here's how. So since these people have shown interest, at least at some level, in you or your content, you actually have the leverage in this situation because they'll be able to recognize you. You're not just coming in cold. So whenever you see a notification comes through from a potential client that you would actually like to work with, then you can just jot it down in a Google Sheet so you can keep track, but then you want to send them a simple message. So just as an example, let's say you made a video talking about the importance of testing ad creatives, right? And somebody, a brand, liked the video and you're like, man, they actually look like the ideal client. Now, they haven't reached out to you, they just liked the video. So what you could do is just click on their profile, send them a DM, something along these lines, like, hey, just saw that you liked my post, appreciate the support. Have you guys been testing ad creatives recently? Just keep it super simple and then see how they respond. Another example, let's just say that you posted a behind the scenes video of a shoot that you recently did and a client comments on it. You could just DM them and say, hey, just saw your comment, really appreciate the support. Do you guys have any fun shoots coming up? Just keep it, again, very casual so that they will respond. Moving again up the easy mode ladder, we get to number 3, which is inbound requests. And honestly, these are my personal favorite. So again, assuming that we're following that content strategy that we mentioned earlier, you're probably going to get your ideal clients to inbound DM or inbound email you. And typically this is going to be them asking for rates, deliverables, what you do, all those kind of questions. Now, a mistake that a lot of people make is they just carry on this huge long conversation in the DMs or the emails or whatever. But what you actually want to do here is transfer this into a call as soon as humanly possible. Typically, I don't like to have more than 3 back and forth interactions with somebody before I get them on a call. And the reason why is because on a call, you can understand exactly where they are, exactly where they're trying to get to. You can pitch content as the solution to get them to where they're trying to get to. And ultimately, you can just have a lot more face time, build more trust, and be able to pitch much higher packages. And just a side note, if somebody's asking you for your rates and you don't know much about the project or what they're even trying to do, you're just kind of making up numbers, so it's not really even beneficial for the client. So in order to quote accordingly, you actually have to get on a call. Which brings me to the 4th and honestly the easiest way to get clients, which is to reactivate your old clients. So this sounds stupid simple, but like you'd be surprised how many people just don't do it. All you have to do is scroll through your DMs or scroll through your emails of your previous clients that maybe you haven't worked with in a year or 2 or something like that. And you're just going to send them a simple message. It'll just be something like, hey, Jeff, had a blast working on that project, insert the name of the project. I've actually been working on a new offer with a few clients and we've gotten some insane results. Insert your case study. I'd love to talk with you more about how it could benefit you. If you're interested, let me know if you have some time to chat. Now, because they have already been a client, they've already paid you, and you've shown proof of results both for them and your new clients, they're going to be much more likely to get on a call and much more likely to actually want to pay you. And again, I'm shocked how many people just don't do this, but just getting on your old client's radar can lead to so much repeat business and even retainers. But I hear you saying it already. Well, Nash, I don't have any old clients. In fact, I don't have any clients at all. But today is your lucky day because I actually made a video of exactly how to build a 6-figure content business with just 2 to 3 clients. And if you want to see it, you can check it out right here.